Hi, I'm Catherine Cheney, DevX's West Coast correspondent here at the Skoll World Forum in Oxford. And joining me is Gail Smith, CEO of the One Campaign and formerly the administrator at USAID. Gail, thanks so much for taking the time.
Sure, glad to be here.
So we were just on a panel where we talked about mainstreaming social entrepreneurship in global development. I guess I'll just start with why that topic matters to you.
I mean, it does for a number of reasons. I think the social entrepreneurship community is extremely rich. I think the points of connection between that community and other parts of the development community are a little loose. And I think there's a lot to be gained by making more of the connections, whether it's to public sector donors, to others who may have been in the development field for longer, to different kind of institutions that play in this space. So I think it was a good opportunity to see if we can connect some of the dots.
And I want to ask you what your biggest takeaway was. I mean, joining you in the panel was Premal Shah from Kiva, Ella Goodwin from Vision Screen. We had Dan Epstein from the Unreasonable Group. A really interesting mix of folks. What are you walking away thinking now?
I mean, look, I'm of two minds. On the one hand, you look at all of them and you can see what's possible. And it's creative, it's driven, and there's real momentum behind it and room for creativity all the way down the line. The other part of my brain is saying all of this is happening at a time when we're not just in the fight of our lives in terms of development or aid resources, but I think in the global debate, at least in power centers, I think we're seeing the verge of a debate about whether any of this matters anyway, and are we going to turn inward, or are we in fact going to be global? So I think, part of what I come away with is how can you take the evidence from this side of the house about what works and use it to make the case that the development enterprise is in fact important.
You also talked about, in our discussion on the panel, this proliferation of projects and how we get beyond that to scale. And frankly, I think a lot of times the scale word is mentioned and people sort of roll their eyes like, yeah, scale. But you really it hit home for me when you said how we make that transition and why scale is really important. Can you expand on that?
Yeah, I think, look, individually, all of these enterprises are impactful. So if they affect one village, 300 people, 3,000 people, 30,000 people, all of that makes a difference. So I don't want to minimize that. But if we really want to see systemic change, you've either got to get to scale in terms of numbers of people or systems, whether it is health systems, procurement systems, whatever the system is, if we want to really get transformational change. And I think, again, that's something that nobody